reading, libraries, growing up, these are all these elements that were a part of at least my childhood. We're going to talk about the Guam Public Library and whether or not you have an interest, at least in making sure your kids have an interest in reading through the library system. That's what we're going to be talking about here on Something to Talk About. Along with us today. Here's an interesting topic that I wanted to talk about, the Guam Public Library System. We have the program coordinator with us, Frank Affligui, talk to us about a number of projects that are taking place and just the interest in libraries. How are you, Frank? Nice to see you.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you for having me
Thanks for
today.
coming over here. I'm really interested in a couple of projects that you have. There's one that's happening for September. Let's talk about that one real quickly.
Okay, September is Library Card Sign-Up Month, so we encourage people to, that don't have a library card, come down, sign up for a library card. It's free, and in conjunction with the Guam Museum, because we're under the umbrella of the Department of Chamorro Affairs, you can get free admission into the Guam Museum for the month of September.
So you just go down, get your kid a library card,
Yes.
and then they free admission. Is it a one-time thing, or
It's
is
for the whole month of September.
Oh, for the whole month of
Yes.
September. Okay. Well,
And
let's
right
get
now
this-
they have a new exhibit that's going on, so they can go and check that out at the Guam Museum
Okay.
as well.
All right. So do parents have to come in with the child and
Sign up for yes, and they
sign
just
up
have to
for-
bring up the proper documents like a birth certificate, passport. They can sign up for a library card, and they can utilize that card for services at the library,
Yeah.
and also for a free admission at the Guam Museum.
Okay, I do want to talk about some of the services at the library, but I also wanted to talk about another event that's actually in October, and that's Teen Read Week. That's
Yeah.
I see what you're trying to do. You're marketing to some teenagers who
Yeah,
might.
yeah. Every October is Teen Read Week, and they have a different theme. This year's theme is Unleash Your Story. So we're trying to encourage teens, or even teachers, to encourage the teens in high schools and middle schools to come up with a story that's going to be like age appropriate to the children, and they can share their story at the Ganya Library, like on Saturdays when we have our story program. And it's just one way for the teens to get involved with the library as well, and show the younger generations that they're able to still read without any fear of being ridiculed or anything. So
Do you find that that's the case, that kids are reluctant to read as a hobby or as a pastime?
I think there's a lot of them that do read as a hobby, but then I guess it's that stereotype, like they want to be considered a nerd, but we just want to encourage the teens to come out and read, and we know that there's a bunch of them that do have stories that they want to tell on their own, so we're just encouraging them to come down. They can submit their story to the library, and then we can review it so it's age appropriate for the children. And then we can schedule them to read the stories on a Saturday.
What's the age? What's usually the age of the kids that come down?
Anywhere from like 12 and below, so
Okay.
for the Saturday program. So we're just encouraging the teens to come out and do that.
Is the Saturday program every Saturday?
Every Saturday all year round, and it's one of our longest running programs.
No kidding. And what's the enthusiasm like, and what's the attendance like?
Anywhere from like maybe 20 to 25.
Oh, that's a pretty good group.
And it's not just locals. A lot of the Oriental families come down and take advantage of the program, especially English being a second language for them. So they come down.
That's a good point. And so you just have people who reads for you on Saturday?
Usually I would read the stories to the children, or I have volunteers come down and read. That's why we're encouraging the teens to come down and do that as well. But even if a teen doesn't have a story, to read, they can just come down to the library and pick up a book and read to their children.
Yeah. Have you seen children who have come to the library not necessarily having an interest in reading, but their parents sort of make them come down and kind of force them to?
Yeah, just trying to I guess spark something in them to I guess get that urge to develop something that's gonna just better them along the way.
Yeah. What about you? Were you always into reading growing up? Or?
Yeah, kind of. Then kind of like when in college, I kind of like got a little burnt out from
Were you
reading.
an avid reader? Did you read when you were young?
Yeah,
when you were
younger,
young?
yes.
Really?
Yes.
Did you have that reputation as being a nerd though?
Not really. Yeah, it's kind of like kept it on a down low, but it's like especially when you order books through like when you're in elementary school, you order all these books and you read them. So you
What's
always
the name
ask
of
your
that
mom.
group? The name of the group that they always get those books from? Gosh, what is the name of that?
Not
The Scholastic?
Yeah, I think Scholastic is one of them. Where you always go and ask, "Mom,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have
yeah.
$1, like, I'm gonna get this book
Yeah,
and that book."
my kids used to come home with this wish list, and now that list over the years has gotten so long and big, and now they have toys and things like that. But but the Scholastic Book Club, I think, is what it was. Yeah, where you could
Yeah,
order
so-
books, and but that was also a vehicle to get the kids interested in
In
reading
reading.
the books, so that wouldn't be bad.
Especially they have different topics. Something
Yeah.
else sparked their interest, like if it's magic or
Yeah.
mystery or what. So
Do you think that we do enough in this, environment, the school environment, or at home, the home environment, to inspire kids to read books?
I think it really
Especially
depends.
especially when sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but especially when you're competing with the electronics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. That's like for teens, it's like they want to go and hang out at the mall, but it's like we just want to try and instill that reading is fun, and it doesn't cost a thing, and then you can always take yourself on an adventure somewhere, and it doesn't cost a thing. So that's that's why we're really encouraging them to come down to the library and share their stories with us.
Yeah.
And also, I guess probably could also count towards like volunteer credits for school. 'Cause, they require community service hours. So,
But it's programs like that would make kids want to do it if they know that at the end of it it would fulfill a requirement, or
so that's like an
some
incentive.
kind of
Yeah.
credit. Yeah. Do you have many kids over the years that have been interested in it?
They come down to the library to volunteer, and they do. A lot of them do assist during the Saturday Story program to read, or to even just assist with the arts and craft portion. And I guess it depends too on the teacher if they're going to accept their credit for the service hours that they're doing at the library.
But do you work with the Department of Education to sort of promote these programs or create these programs that?
Well, yes, I sent it out
Build that
to DOE, especially to let them know that service hours are available down in the library. And it depends on the teacher or the counselor to see if they're going to accept it.
Yeah, but the idea, like for example, you don't have to tell me your age if you don't want to, but I mean the era in which you grew up. What was that about what was the era? What decade did you grow up in?
In the 70s, so
In the 70s.
yeah.
So
It was-
libraries were still pretty active
Yes.
on Guam. I mean, you could go to the library and spend all day there.
And
if
then
you wanted
especially like with the bookmobile coming around, you always, that was an excitement to just go and get a book out of the bookmobile, and just getting more books to, I guess broaden your mind and vocabulary as well.
Yeah. Has much changed in that way though? Do you still have a bookmobile? I don't even know.
Bookmobile is currently down because engineering problems with the bookmobile. But we still do outreach to schools, and we still encourage them to come down to the library and get a book. And we're trying to work on doing more outreach programs into the community.
How many libraries do they have in the?
There's 6. The main branch in Agana, and then 5 other branches.
Woohoo. Oh, look at I got for you. Look at that. It's a nice big old steak. Okay. So,
Yes.
Which villages have libraries?
Okay, Mauricio has one. Mauricio, Jonia, Barrigada, Agate, and Dededo.
And are they open and well attended?
They are open one day a week because we are short on staff. And they're on Mondays it's Mauricio from 9 to 5:30. They're closed from 12 to 1 for lunch. And on Tuesdays it's Barrigada and Agate and Barrigada. Oh, no, Agate and Dededo, I'm sorry. And then on Wednesdays it's Jonia.
Oh, so they're just they have a
Yes.
staggered schedule every day. They have
Yes.
an appointed day to be open.
There's only one day out of the week where 3 of the branches are actually open.
Oh,
So
I see.
the main is open from Monday to Thursday, closed on Fridays, for staff development, and on Saturdays we're open back.
But it's not a matter of it being it's funding. It's more of a matter of having people available.
Yes.
So the
'Cause
funding is there for these village libraries, but you just
The
don't have
staff,
anybody's
yeah.
interested in actually keeping the library open?
Well, yeah, well, right now, because we're short on staff, that's basically
Yeah.
the reason that the branches are only open 1 day a week.
Yeah, but if you had more staff,
Then it would have been, open a little
but you could
longer.
you could support the staff.
Yes.
The funding is there for the staff.
Right now,
Yeah.
they were looking at, I guess, trying to get more staff on board.
Yeah. What's the problem there? Is it people are not interested in the job, or?
No, it's a matter of funding for that as well.
Yeah. Okay. So there is a little bit of money issues
Yes.
that doesn't allow it the operation to open every day of the week, or okay. Well, having said that, then how does the library, continue its mission if we've got the issue of the bookmobile being down and perhaps we can't keep the doors open in the libraries? Is it a priority of the government, do you think, that have you had to go to the legislature or to make a case for the libraries?
Well, that's what our president Johnny Saban is trying to do, is to expose the library more and work with the library to get exposure into the community even more right now.
How hard is that for you? I mean, you have to have some pretty good people in place to help you do that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we're trying. We're doing the best we can with what we do have, and as long as the main branch is open, for the public, 5 days a week. So we're just trying to make ends meet on that part.
Yeah, that's always hard. But I mean, I don't think that you're in any more of a dire situation than you would find with public libraries all over the country. I think when we come back from the break, I'll talk to you a little bit about the interest in actually going to the libraries anymore. But in the meantime, you have somebody like Kyle Mandapat, who's on your board
Yes.
and been just newly confirmed for a second go at it. You've injected, somebody who's a father, who's a millennial, and he's very popular in the public. And anybody, every time I say Kyle Mandapat, people laugh. So, and then there's that. And then there's
Yes.
Kyle Mandapat, the character, but he's very serious about his role in helping the.
Yeah, right now we're looking for one more board member, someone in IT, so we could actually have a working board, DPLS board, so things can progress from there.
So you haven't been able to make a quorum, is that it?
Yes,
so
right,
a lot
yeah.
of your issues are sort of on the table, trying
Yes.
to figure it out. Okay. Well, when we come back, we're going to take a break here, but we're going to try and tackle the issue of the survivability of public libraries anymore. You would be you would be surprised, I think, at some of the statistics that talk about whether or not you should keep libraries open. All of that after this break. Library system, because it is a system. It's more than just the Agania Library, which, by the way, I grew up in the 70s. That was the playground for us. I went to Bishop, and after school, I don't even know how we got from Bishop down the hill, but I'm pretty sure we didn't walk, but however we got to the public library in middle school, that is where we spent our days after school. Do you still get that kind of audience?
Maybe not as much as what we would experience back then, but there's still people that come in. Parents do bring in their children to check out books or do their homework, and just utilize the library.
We were library rats. I mean, after school, even when we went to the academy, it was a matter of walking across the street. It was really kind of a social environment. Do you remember that period of time?
I remember the academy coming over and the FD coming over.
Yeah.
That was the social hub.
That was a social, okay, all right. The boys went there probably to see the girls come over from academy. It was a safe off-campus place, but it was social ground. And a lot of kids, it's not a bad place to have been. There was a lot of joking around and all of that stuff, but for the most part, the whole idea that you're in this ambiance where being quiet is a challenge. And I think, and that is still part of the American culture, is the whole library scene of keeping quiet. Is it still that same?
Yeah, Yes, to a certain point where like say for instance like today I had a McToddler program, and it's like how toddlers are. They're not going to be all that quiet, so it's a time for them to actually go ahead and be a kid. And when I'm reading a story, it's just like I just read like one story because their attention span is not all there. And then they really get attentive to the program when we start singing. So that's when they start to partake in the songs.
Oh, okay.
So it's not.
I mean, it's not a lively center, but have you seen that? God, it's a program on one of those cable stations. Do you know what I'm talking about? The library thing. Raph, anybody? Okay, is y'all too young for this one? I think it's actually based in Japan. It's a Japanese program where they have these guys that come in, and the challenge is to not make each other silent library or something like that. Do you ever see that show? Yeah, something like that. It's on one of the cable. It is the funniest because that's what we used to do is try not to break the rules, but we always had the stern librarian who made sure behind the counter that we were paying attention. But so much of that culture is lost. I mean, there's something about being in the library, and there's something about in school we learned the Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah, the library we're still utilizing the Dewey Decimal, and then in the children's library it's by author's last name. Yeah, so it's easier for parents to try and locate a book.
That was the Dewey Decimal System was the language of the library. It had its own unique language, and this is how you communicated to find books, basically to find books.
So right now that's what we're still running on.
Yeah,
we do Decimal in the young juvenile section, even the adult fiction,
nonfiction. Do you sort of graduate them into the system when you get the kids in the smaller books by author, or do you?
Yeah, then it goes to the young adult. So the young adult, but it's more like by subject. So if they have an interest in astronauts, and that'll be under the Dewey Decimal System.
Oh, I see. Okay. But do we teach that in school anymore? Because I think I learned that in school, like I learned shorthand.
I'm not even too sure.
I wonder. I really wonder where. So if you don't learn it in school, then it's foreign to you unless you.
And then you learn it at the library.
And then it's pretty much it.
The hard way, so.
Yes, sometimes the hard way. So you have to explain to people where these books are. I'm going to have to go back there to test my knowledge. I think I'm going to do that. I think sometime in the next couple of days, I'm going to go down to the library and I'm going to go test my knowledge of the Dewey Decimal System to see if I still remember how to locate a book. And then you had the library cards.
Yeah, the shuffle cards, those are gone right now. We have an online
that was
catalog.
The best part of it.
I know, going through each
yeah. That was so much fun. But now you have what, computers that do that?
Computer printouts that are up on the second floor. And there's the online catalog as well.
Okay.
If you need assistance, you can always ask the library technician.
Boy, that must have taken a whole lot of effort. Are there libraries that still have these cards? Probably in the smaller rural one.
We still have the cards, but they're not out for the public to use. It's up in our third floor section.
You, I'm sure, have heard some of the stories over the years where they're random stories of somebody finding a book that they had from a long time ago with that, Every time I remember seeing that, it was like the feeling that you got when you went to rent DVDs, and then you couldn't find the DVD, and then when you finally did, you thought you turned it in, and you knew that it was $4.99 a day for every day that it was late. That was the feeling you got back in the day when you saw a library book that was not turned in on time. It was overdue, and you knew you'd have to cough up some change.
Yeah, so right now, if it's an overdue book, there's a cap on it. It's like $20 per book, and so it doesn't keep on accumulating. And then you can still turn it in and clear your name from.
Clear your name. The shame of having an overdue library book. But I think that's really interesting that people who have over the years have found these errant books laying around someplace and then thought the best thing to do honorably was to go back and pay for the book.
They can turn it in, in every April it's Amnesty Month.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so they can always turn it in there.
I always love that about that. That is something very funny, the amnesty. But longest overdue book that you know in your career so far?
Oh, that I can't.
Well, I mean that one had to return. You would only have known that if one had to return it, right?
Yeah, so I guess some are probably even like over a year.
Oh, okay.
And then finally, took advantage of the amnesty month and turned it in.
Okay.
So they don't have to pay those fines and fees.
Yeah. I would have donated the $20 and kept the book, just for all of the trouble. Do you actually make any money off the fees, though? Is that just a social consciousness thing, or do you really? Is it a source of revenue?
It's minimal. So because like the fines and fees is just like 25 cents per book, and it's like it's not too much from the fines and fees of that one.
So where do you guys get your books?
It's through right now we're under a grant from the Institute Museum and Library Services. And we get monies from them to actually purchase books, and then there's a listing, and we order the books through different companies, and we get the books in, and once they process them, we actually put them up for circulation.
Do people still go to the library to do research?
Not as much like before. Like when we were growing up, we needed to
That's all you had, man. Yeah.
You have to go to
Did
the
it
library, right?
get this encyclopedia? Yeah.
Now it's basically people coming in to do research. It's probably like old articles, because we have PDN articles that are bound in books dating back to 1954.
Oh.
So people do come and do some research there, and then
To actually look at the articles.
the actual newspapers itself.
Wow.
And that's where I've seen a lot of the research being done. And then probably like homeschoolers, they will come in and do some research.
Okay.
As well.
So, do you have computers? The computers do all the work for you for the research?
Yeah,
or-
and computers, it's free internet access. All you have to do is sign up for a library card, and they can utilize the computers.
Does it cost anything for a library card?
No, it's free.
Oh.
It's free. And I guess if you lose your library card, it's just 75 cents to replace your library.
Boy, you guys, I tell you what, you used to stick it to us when we were growing up in middle school and in high school. We had to pay fees and fines and overdue fines and that sort of thing. I wonder, I mean, there was a story that I read the other day where it said that they were debating closing public libraries, and the shocking revelation was the support from millennials who actually said, no, you've got to keep libraries open. That's a part, I don't know if it was, historical American, culture, if it was about, the love of the library from, emotionally,
There's
or
a lot of people that are, the American Library Association that are, fighting to keep the libraries open, for the entire.
it's like American institution or something. I mean, every country has a library, but I mean that I think that you'll find a different culture of how people use the library from place to place, don't you?
Then, it's like the libraries are, I guess, they're like important to, the upbringing of children as well too. Just, like we were saying earlier about sparking interest in a child. So they're really fighting to keep the libraries open.
Well, the project that we're talking about is September. Get a library card. Just sign up your kid. Bring some form of identification, like a legal document, like a passport or a birth certificate.
School ID.
Okay, school ID. Have the kid sign up for one, and then that gives you free entrance into. And it's only for children, so adults can't get one too.
Yes,
It's for everybody.
yes,
Oh, okay. All
6 and above.
Okay, and all month long you can go to the museum in September. Okay, and then the second one coming up, if you've got a story
That's your story for Teen Read Week. We ask you to submit your stories by September 22nd for review, and then we can put them on a schedule as to when they want to share.
and this is stories that you have written,
Yes.
and you will read it to your subjects. You'll read it to the children as long as it's age appropriate and the material is definitely appropriate.
And it's not just for 1 week long. If it takes even more, more Saturdays to fulfill the amount of people that submitted stories, then we're gonna
Okay.
continue that.
Okay. Well, I tell you, I'm so glad that I got a chance to talk to you about the old days there, Frank. We certainly have some great memories, and you know who you are. Some great memories of the library. That is going to do it for us here on Something to Talk About. We'll see you on the radio. Thank you.